The patrol ship Vor-19 drifted through the dark side of the Nebran Void, a silent area of space where even comets feared to travel. The crew hated this assignment. Nothing ever happened here. No signals, no trade ships, no pirates, just darkness. But today, something different waited for them. Lieutenant Soren leaned back in his chair, bored. He had checked the scanners 10 times already. Nothing, no movement, no life. Only the same cold, empty stars. Anything yet? Commander Vek asked, stepping beside him. Soren shook his head. Same as always, quiet, too quiet. Commander Vek narrowed his eyes at the window. He didn't like the void either. It made his skin crawl. There were old stories among their people, stories about shadows that moved, giant metal ghosts, and a lost race that once brought fire to the galaxy. Stories their elders said were just myths, but sometimes myths start with truth. Soren stretched, ready to stand when suddenly the scanner beeped, once, twice, then it screamed. "What is that?" Soren shouted. A red dot blinked onto the display, not moving, not transmitting, just there. Commander Vek leaned forward. "Is it a ship?" Soren zoomed in, his hands trembled. "No, Commander, it's too big, much too big." "How big?" Soren swallowed. "At least 3 kilometers long." Vek froze. "That's impossible." But the scanner didn't lie. Something massive floated in the dark ahead of them. The crew rushed to their stations. The lights dimmed to battle readiness. The atmosphere inside the bridge changed instantly from boredom to pure fear. "Put it on the screen," Vek ordered. The main display flickered, then focused, and there it was. A monstrous structure drifting quietly in space like a sleeping giant. Its metal skin looked old but strong. Thousands of plates covered its surface. Strange tower-like shapes rose from its body. Huge engines slept at its rear like silent beasts. It was not a station, it was not a ship, it was something in between, something ancient, something powerful. The room went completely silent. What are we looking at?" one officer whispered. Soren answered with a shaking voice. I think it's a fortress, a floating fortress." Commander Vek stepped closer to the screen. He studied every detail, every shadow, every shape. "There are no records of a structure like this," he said quietly. Soren hesitated. "There are stories." Everyone looked at him. "Stories about what?" Vek asked. Soren's voice lowered. "About the humans." A few officers gasped. "Humans, a dead race, a forgotten enemy from a century ago, destroyed, wiped out, gone." Commander Vek frowned. "Humans are extinct. No one has seen them in over 100 years. "Yes," Soren said. "But legend says they built great fortresses, mobile cities, weapons larger than cruisers." He pointed at the screen. "Some stories say they created the Ark fortresses to survive the final war." Another officer laughed nervously. "Those are myths, old war tales to scare children." "No," Soren said softly. "My grandfather fought the humans. He said they were not like other species. They were small but fearless. They never surrendered, never stopped. They built machines bigger than planets. He called them monsters in flesh." Commander Vek stared at the screen again, his expression hardened. "Scan for life signs." Soren tapped the controls, but the scanner glitched. Static filled the screen. "That's strange," he whispered. "It's blocking us." "Blocking?" Vek repeated. "How?" "I don't know. It's like the fortress has a field around it." Commander Vek exhaled slowly. His instincts screamed danger. "Send a probe. We need more details." Soren launched a drone. The crew watched the live feed, the small camera flying toward the giant structure. As it approached, they saw more details: hangar doors as tall as mountains, giant cannons hidden under armor plates, rail lines across the hull, and glowing symbols no one could read. "This thing," Soren whispered, "it could destroy a fleet." The drone flew closer, 100 meters, 80 meters, 50 meters, then the feed cut. "Black screen, signal lost," Soren shouted. Something grabbed it." Commander Vek's voice shook slightly. "Grabbed how?" Soren checked readings. "I can't explain, it looks like a gravity pulse." A cold chill ran through the bridge. One officer stepped back. "Commander, if this fortress is active, if humans are inside," Vek raised a hand. "Calm yourselves, we don't know anything yet." But deep inside, he wasn't calm at all. He felt something he hadn't felt in 20 years. Fear. He turned to communications. "Send a priority alert to High Command. Tell them we found a large, unidentified construct, possibly human origin." "Yes, Commander," the officer typed quickly. A message began transmitting, but halfway through, signal interruption detected. "Transmission failing." "What now?" Vek growled. The officer stared at the screen, pale. "The fortress, it's interfering with our communications." "So it's active," Vek whispered. "Commander." Soren said softly, "There's something else." "What is it?" Soren pointed at the fortress. A faint blue light started glowing along its hull like veins carrying energy. "It's waking up." The entire bridge shook, not from attack but from fear. Commander Vek snapped orders instantly. "Reverse thrusters, pull us back from this thing." The patrol ship began retreating. The glow on the fortress spread. More lights came alive. The giant engines hummed softly. Shutters opened across its body, revealing dark weapon barrels and long hidden structures. It was like watching a dead god open its eyes. "Commander," one officer shouted, "power readings rising. I think it's charging something." Commander Vek's mouth went dry. "How long until we are out of range?" Soren looked at him terrified. "Commander, a thing this large, we may already be in range." Then the bridge lights flickered, the ship's power dropped, 3%, 2%, 1%, everything went dark. Only emergency lights remained. What did it do to us? An officer cried. Soren checked the console manually. A power drain, it hit us with some kind of energy wave. Commander Vec slammed his fist on the chair. Try to restart the engines. We can't, everything is locked. The crew panicked, some whispered prayers, some shook in fear, then something even worse happened. A voice echoed across the bridge. A calm, cold, human voice. Unidentified vessel. You are entering restricted territory, power lock engaged. Do not resist. Silence, no one moved, no one breathed. Commander Vec stared into the darkness. Did that voice just speak galactic common? Soren's hands trembled. Commander, it's human, the voice repeated. Remain still, your vessel is being scanned. Hostile action will result in destruction. Everyone froze, their worst fear had come true. Humans were alive, humans had returned. Humans were inside this fortress. The voice spoke again, calm but threatening. Identity confirmed, Arc Fortress 7, status, active, warning, foreign fleet presence detected within proximity. Commander Vec felt sweat on his forehead. It knows who we are, Soren whispered. Commander, if this fortress is truly human, they might think we are their enemies. Vec knew he had to do something, fast. He stood up and faced the main screen. This is Commander Vec of the Vora Dominion, he said strongly. We're not here to attack, we only detected an unknown object, we mean no harm. There was a pause, then the voice changed. A second voice replaced the first, human, female, cold, sharp. This is Captain Ree of Arc 7. Humanity has stayed silent for a century. You found us, and now the fortress lights intensified, weapons shifted, engines roared softly. We will not run again. Commander Vec's heart dropped. Captain Ree, he said quickly, trying to calm the situation. We don't want war. You brought war to us 100 years ago. Her voice cut like a blade. Please, Vec pleaded, listen, do not move. Your signal has already been transmitted to your empire. They will come, you know they will. Vec swallowed. She was right. High Command would send fleets, many fleets. The humans knew it. Prepare your crew, Captain Ree said darkly. The galaxy is about to change. Then the transmission ended. Silence fell over the patrol ship. Commander Vec felt the true weight of the moment. They had found the fortress, or maybe the fortress had allowed itself to be found. Soren whispered the final words of the scene. Commander, what have we done? Vec closed his eyes. We have awakened humanity. And outside the dark window, the giant fortress glowed brighter, as if smiling. The patrol ship Vora 19 drifted helplessly in front of the giant fortress. It looked like a small insect floating near a sleeping titan. The crew stood frozen, unable to think, unable to speak. The voice of Captain Ree still echoed inside their minds like a warning from a ghost. Commander Vec tried to stay calm, but his heart beat so loudly it felt like the entire ship could hear it. The emergency lights flickered, covering every face in a faint red glow. Felt like the ship itself was afraid. Status report, Vec ordered, though his voice shakily betrayed him. Soren tapped several controls, but most systems didn't respond. Engines offline, shields offline, we are locked in place. That fortress is holding us with some kind of gravity field. One of the younger officers, barely old enough to fly, whispered, Commander, are humans really alive? Vec looked at him, but he didn't answer. He didn't want to say the truth. Because the truth was far worse than the legend. 100 years ago, the Vora Dominion and several other races fought the humans. The humans were fewer, smaller, and weaker in body, but they were different. They didn't break, didn't surrender, didn't fear death. They adapted faster than any species. They built machines with impossible power, machines like the fortress in front of them. Most believed humanity had been destroyed after the Great War, but now, reality stood glowing in front of them, waking up. Commander, the fortress is charging something, Soren said. Vec turned slowly. Charging what? Soren pointed to the screen. Look, the glowing blue veins on the fortress grew brighter. More lights activated along its hull. Massive plates shifted, sliding open like the eyelids of a steel beast. Several weapon turrets emerged from hidden compartments, silent, cold, but definitely active. This wasn't just a structure. It was a city built for war. A voice suddenly echoed through the bridge speakers again, calm, firm, and absolutely human. Arc Fortress 7 system core initialization complete. Everyone froze. More lines of system announcements followed. Outer shields online. Defensive grid active. Weapon arrays charging. Engine cluster warming. It sounded like the fortress was stretching after a long sleep. Then came the chilling line, prepare for external threat assessment. Commander Vec swallowed hard. It's preparing for battle, but against who? The young officer asked. Soren looked at him with fear-filled eyes. Us or our empire, and our empire is already on the way. A low rumble vibrated through the patrol ship. The fortress engines came to life. Bright streams of energy leaked from its vents, lighting the darkness around it. Then something unexpected happened. A massive circular structure under the fortress rotated slowly. The metal rings inside it glowed yellow, then orange. It looked like a giant sun waking under the hull. What is that? Vec asked. Soren stared at the readings. Some kind of power core, but I've never seen anything like it. The energy level is, Commander, it's off the charts. The young officer stepped back. Can it destroy planets? Soren didn't answer, and that silence was more frightening than words. Suddenly, the patrol ship's lights brightened for a moment, just a moment, then went dim again. The screen crackled with static. "Commander," the comms officer shouted, "we're receiving another transmission." The voice was not robotic this time. It was fully human, strong, clear, sharp. "Vor 19, do not attempt escape. Your engines will be restored after evaluation." Commander Vec forced himself to speak. "Captain Ree, we don't wish for conflict." There was a long silence. Then the human captain replied, "Conflict is unavoidable." Those words cut through the crew like a cold blade. Vec took a slow breath. "Please listen, our empire doesn't know your people survived. They will see the fortress as a threat." "It is a threat," Ree said, "to those who choose war." The crew exchanged terrified looks. Ree continued, her tone steady. "For a century, humanity hid in the dark, rebuilding. We watched your empires grow greedy. We watched them expand. We watched you destroy planets for resources. We did nothing." Her voice lowered, "But that ends now." Commander Vec felt his throat tighten. "What do you want?" "Balance," she said, "and safety for those you hunted to extinction." A wave of guilt washed over the patrol ship. Many officers lowered their eyes. Their species had taken part in the war. They had believed humans were gone, but humans were not gone. They had been preparing. Suddenly Soren gasped. "Commander." Multiple warp signatures. Vec turned sharply. "Where?" "Behind us." The screen flashed with bright white lines. Space tore open as ships exited warp. 12510, a whole squadron of Dominion warships appeared behind the patrol vessel. The crew stared in horror. Their empire had arrived, and they did not come in peace. The lead ship sent a message to Vec. "Vor 19, stand aside. We will eliminate the target." Soren whispered. "Commander, no, they're going to attack the fortress." Vec closed his eyes briefly. This was exactly what Captain Ree had predicted. His empire would not hesitate. They saw only a threat, but they did not understand what they were about to provoke. The fortress was no normal ship. Captain Ree's voice returned. "Vor 19, pull back immediately. We will not warn you again." The Dominion commander on the flagship hailed them again. "Vor 19, do not retreat. Maintain position. Two sides, two commands, two impossible choices." Vec's crew looked at him, waiting for his decision. Then the fortress moved, slowly, heavily, like a mountain shifting after 1,000 years of sleep. The entire dark side of space lit up under its engines. The patrol ship shook violently just from the shockwave. "Soren, power readings?" Vec asked. Soren stared at the numbers, speechless. "Commander, it's generating more energy than our entire fleet combined." The Dominion right flank opened fire first. Bright beams of plasma shot across space, hitting the fortress directly. Every officer held their breath. The fortress shield absorbed the hits like raindrops, not even a scratch. Then Captain Ree's tone changed. It became colder, sharper, final. "Arc 7, engage defensive protocol." Panels along the fortress hull twisted open. Hundreds of cannons emerged, big cannons, small cannons, rotating cannons, cannons with glowing ends that hummed with terrifying power. The younger officer whispered, "This is not a fortress, this is a nightmare." For the first time in many years, Commander Vec agreed. Without warning, the fortress fired. There was no dramatic charge, no long buildup, just a single blast. A thin beam of golden energy shot out, silent, fast, and absolutely devastating. It passed through 3 Dominion cruisers in one instant, not exploding them, not breaking them, just erasing them. 3 ships vanished, gone, turned to dust. Silence swallowed the bridge. The Dominion fleet froze. Even the fortress seemed to pause, as if giving them a moment to understand its power. Vec whispered, "This is a one-sided war," but it wasn't over. The fortress engines flared brighter. Its underside opened like the petals of a giant metal flower. Strange circular devices glowed, humming deeper and deeper. Soren checked readings with shaking hands. "Commander, another weapon is charging, something huge, something we've never seen." The Dominion commander sent a desperate broadcast. "All ships, full retreat, fall back now," but his message cut off, because space itself bent. Light around the fortress twisted, stars warped. The patrol ship shook so hard several officers fell. Lines of energy spiraled around the fortress like a growing storm. Captain Ree spoke one final message. "This is your first and last warning. Humanity is no longer hiding." The weapon activated. A blinding pulse slammed across space. It didn't destroy ships. Instead, it disabled them, shutting down engines, weapons, and power instantly. Every Dominion ship powered off. Every screen went dark. Every engine went silent. Entire fleet paralyzed. Only Vor 19 remained partially powered, caught closest to the fortress. Soren whispered, voice trembling, "Commander, they disabled 5,000 systems in 1 second." Vec felt the true gravity of the moment. Humans didn't want genocide. They wanted control, balance, a warning, a message to the entire galaxy: humanity has returned. Captain Ree ended the transmission with a final line: "Prepare yourselves. This galaxy will not remain the same." The fortress turned slowly, its massive engines igniting like a newborn star. As it moved deeper into space, leaving the Dominion fleet powerless and afraid, the truth settled over Commander Vec like a dark cloud. This was not the beginning of war. This was the beginning of something far bigger, something the galaxy wasn't ready for. The great fortress Arc-7 drifted through the darkness like a silent metal continent. From the outside, it looked cold and emotionless, an ancient titan built only for war. But inside, life pulsed through its endless halls. Children laughed in distant corridors, families ate together in the communal bays. Engineers hurried through glowing tunnels. Thousands of humans lived here generation after generation, never knowing sunlight, never seeing a real ocean, never walking on a planet. Arc-7 wasn't just a fortress, it was their home, their sanctuary. The last beating heart of humanity, but today that heart felt heavy, because today humanity stepped back into the galaxy. Inside the command chamber, Captain Ree stood before a long screen that displayed the silent Dominion fleet behind them. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried pain, old pain carved from war and loss. "Status report," she said softly. Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Hale, approached. Hale was older, with silver hair and a stern face that hid his worry. "Fleet disabled," Hale said. "No weapons online, no engines, no threat." Ree nodded slowly. "And casualties?" "None, as you ordered." She closed her eyes for a moment. That mattered to her more than anything. Humans did not want more blood, not after losing so many of their own. Ree turned away from the screen and walked across the chamber. The room hummed with the quiet sound of machines and soft light. Dozens of officers watched her with respect and fear. Arc-7 was powerful, but the galaxy was much larger, and the Dominion would not forgive this humiliation. Ree stopped beside a circular table where a hologram of the patrol ship Vora-19 flickered. "They saw us," she whispered. "Our silence is broken." Lieutenant Hale nodded. "The question is, what will they do now?" But Ree already knew. "They will come with a full armada," she said. "They will bring every ship they have." Hale's voice lowered. "And we are alone." Ree looked at him sharply. "Humanity has always been alone." The Dominion realization far behind Arc-7 aboard the powerless Vora-19, Commander Vec watched the glowing fortress fade into the distance. The Dominion rescue fleets were still trying to reboot their systems. Officers moved around in panic, shouting for updates, but nothing worked. The fortress had shut them down completely. Soren approached quietly. His face was pale. "Commander, the flagship wants a report. They are blaming us for not warning them." Vec laughed bitterly. "Warning them? We barely survived." Soren lowered his voice. "Do you think more fortresses exist?" Vec looked through the window at the fading glow of Arc-7. His chest tightened with fear. "Yes," he said, "there must be more." Soren inhaled sharply. "Then we are truly doomed." "No," Vec whispered, almost to himself. "Doomed is the wrong word." He stared at the empty space where the fortress had been. "We're outmatched. That is the real truth." The secret chamber deep inside Arc-7, Captain Ree descended into the oldest part of the fortress. She rarely came here. This section was built during the last days of Earth, before everything fell. The walls were thicker, the air colder, the lights dimmer. Everything looked ancient, like the bones of a giant creature sleeping under the fortress skin. Hale followed close behind. "Ma'am, are you sure?" "Yes," she said. "They need to wake." At the bottom of the chamber, two massive doors opened, revealing a long hall filled with tall metallic pods. Each pod contained a crystal-like core glowing with faint blue light. These were not weapons. These were memories. Hale stood silently behind her. "The memory vault." Ree rested her hand on a pod. "Every fortress carries one, every piece of our lost world, our history, our science, our pain. Inside each core a legacy lived, the face of Earth, the last sunsets, songs from old cultures, the final messages of dying cities." Ree whispered, "If we fall, humanity falls forever. These cores hold everything that remains of who we were." Hale asked gently, "Why come here now?" Ree looked up, her eyes hard. "Because we're done hiding, and the galaxy must know what we carry." She tapped a screen. The cores glowed brighter. "We will use them." Hale's eyes widened. "Captain, the Council forbids activating the vault in open conflict." Ree turned toward him, her voice low and sharp. "The Council does not command today, I do." Hale stepped back, stunned. "The galaxy thinks we are monsters," she continued. "Because they have never seen the truth. They never saw what was done to us. They never saw the fire that swallowed Earth. They never saw the bodies." Her voice shook for the first time. "The vault will remind them." The Dominion's new plan. Meanwhile, aboard the Dominion flagship High Warden, chaos filled the bridge. Officers shouted, engineers ran, commanders argued. The High Marshal, a tall alien with violet eyes and skin like polished stone, slammed his staff onto the floor. Silence. The room fell quiet. He glared at the silent hulls of disabled ships floating outside the window. "You all witnessed that fortress's power. One human construct rendered 27 warships useless in seconds." A commander swallowed. "High Marshal, our scanners cannot detect its core. We cannot measure its weapon output. We cannot track its warp signature. It is like fighting a god." The High Marshal narrowed his eyes. "No, gods do not bleed. Humans do." The room felt colder. He pointed at Vora-19 image on the screen. "Bring Commander Vec and his crew. They are the only ones who communicated with the humans. Their information is vital." The officers nodded nervously. Then the High Marshal spoke the words that set fate in motion. "Mobilize the Grand Armada, every fleet, every soldier, every resource." A wave of fear spread through the bridge. High Marshal in all-out war, the advisor asked weakly. The High Marshal's eyes turned cold. War? No, this is extermination. The fortress's heart beat back inside Arc 7. Soft vibration pulsed through the walls. At first it was gentle like a distant drum, then it grew louder. Ree and Hale felt the floor tremble. What is happening? Hale asked. Ree closed her eyes. It's the core. Arc 7's central engine, called the Heart, was waking fully. It glowed with a deep golden light so bright it lit the entire engine chamber like a rising sun. Engineers stood in awe, whispering, praying. The Heart was old technology, older than the war. Older than the Council, older than Arc 7 itself. Its creators died long ago. Some said it was built from a dying star. Some said it contained the last breath of Earth. No one knew the truth, but everyone knew its power. Hale stepped closer to Ree. If the Dominion attacks with everything they have, can we win? Ree responded without looking at him. We don't need to win. Hale frowned. What do you mean? We just need to survive long enough for the galaxy to hear us. The shadow messaged. The core grew brighter until the fortress trembled from the inside out. Ree activated a command on her wrist console. A circular pattern lit up across the floor. Holograms rose around her, the last recordings made by human survivors during Earth's destruction. Screams, fire, cities collapsing, children running, soldiers crying in the dust. Hale covered his mouth in shock. This is terrible. Ree spoke softly. These will be broadcast to every empire, every planet, every leader. Hale's eyes widened. Captain, if they see this, they will understand why we fight. A new fear suddenly. Alarms echoed through Arc 7, warning. Hyperwarp signatures detected. Ree's heart tightened. How many? She demanded. The officer at the console replied with shaking hands. Captain, hundreds. The next scan appeared. Wait, no, thousands. More readings. Hale whispered. Captain, the Dominion is bringing everything. Ree stood tall. They think they are facing monsters. She looked toward the glowing memory vault, but they're about to meet humans. Usually the darkness around Arc 7 was calm, empty, and still, but today the void shook with strange vibrations like the galaxy itself was holding its breath. Every human on the fortress felt it, every child, every engineer, every soldier. The air buzzed with an invisible tension. Something massive was coming, something unstoppable. The human fortress braces. Captain Ree stood on the bridge of Arc 7, her eyes scanning the new readings appearing on the screen. Her face remained calm, but the officers around her noticed the tightness in her jaw. Report, she said. Her sensors officer responded quickly, voice trembling. Multiple warp signatures approaching. Captain, he paused, swallowed, and continued. It's a full armada. Lieutenant Hale's expression darkened. How many? The officer zoomed the scan. Dots appeared, more dots, a sea of red, then the numbers updated. Estimate 200-300 warships. A quiet gasp passed through the bridge. That's not all, the officer added shakily. New signatures, bigger ships, Dreadnought class. Ree stared at the data. She had expected a response, but not this, not the Grand Armada, not the largest war force the Dominion had ever assembled. Hale stepped beside her. Captain, they're coming to erase us. Ree answered without turning her head. They tried that once, it didn't work. Commander Vex Guilt far away aboard the Dominion flagship High Warden. Commander Vex stood in silence as dozens of generals argued. Their voices echoed through the massive war room. Kill the humans, destroy that fortress, erase their species. They are a threat to every race. No one listened to Vec, but one person did. High Marshal Theros, leader of the Dominion military. Now towering at the center of the room with cold, unblinking eyes, he turned toward Vec. You saw them first. Speak. Vec hesitated. He remembered Captain Ree's voice, her calm warning, her restraint, her mercy. He took a slow breath. High Marshal, the humans didn't attack us first. They only defended themselves. Theros narrowed his eyes. Defended by disabling our entire fleet. Yes, Vec said, but they could have destroyed us and they didn't. The room fell into uncomfortable silence. Theros stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. You think they showed mercy? Vec nodded. Yes. Theros didn't blink. You are wrong, Commander. He pointed at the hologram of Arc 7. That fortress is not a city. It is a weapon, a final weapon, and today we end it. Something inside Vec cracked. He whispered, High Marshal, this will start a war we cannot win. Theros glared at him. We already started it. The human children feel the fear inside Arc 7 living sectors. Families gathered in the hallways, staring at emergency announcements flashing on the walls. The fortress hum changed tone, deeper, more rhythmic, signaling battle readiness. A young boy tugged on his mother's hand. Mom, are the aliens coming again? His mother forced a smile, but her eyes betrayed her fear. Yes, she whispered, but Captain Ree will protect us. Down the hall, old veterans sat together, sharpening tools and preparing emergency kits. They had lived through the fall of Earth. They recognized the feeling in the air. War was coming again. Ree's unbreakable decision on the bridge reissued the first order. Prepare shield wall protocol. Her officers stiffened. Hale looked shocked. Captain, once we activate that, there's no turning back. I know, she said. He stepped closer. This protocol, it drains our core. It slows our movement. It means we stay in one place. Ree met his eyes. We are not running. Her officers watched silently, respect growing behind their fear. Ree continued. Activate the memory vault broadcast channel. Hale's eyes widened. You want them to see it, all of it? Yes, what if they use it against us? They already do, Ree said softly. They call us monsters. Today they will see what real monsters did to us. The Dominion Armada arrived, space tore open, not once, not twice, but hundreds of times. Blue and violet warp tunnels ripped the void apart as ship after ship emerged, battle cruisers, heavy destroyers, missile barges, beam frigates, dreadnoughts with armored skins thicker than mountains. The Grand Armada formed a wall in space. A wall of metal, a wall of power, a wall of death. Commander Vec watched in horror as more ships arrived. This is madness, he whispered. Theros didn't look at him. This is survival. The Great Standoff. Two forces now faced each other across the empty void, one fortress versus 2,000 warships. Silence filled the galaxy. No one fired, no one moved, even the stars seemed to dim. Arc-7 floated like a sleeping beast, lights glowing like slow breaths. The Dominion fleet shaped into an attack wedge, prepared to crush the fortress with overwhelming fire. On every ship, soldiers held their breath. On Arc-7, children grabbed their parents. On the High Warden, Theros finally gave the order. Open all channels. A bridge officer activated the main screen. Theros leaned forward. Human Fortress Arc-7, he announced, voice loud and cold. You are ordered to surrender. Inside Arc-7, Ree looked at the incoming message. She pressed a button. No, she said. Theros' nostrils flared, then prepare to be destroyed. But Ree raised her hand. We have something to show you. Theros froze. What trick is this? Ree didn't answer. She activated the memory vault. The memory vault unleashes the truth. The space between the fleets lit with holographic light. Images projected into the void so large that every Dominion ship could see them, every soldier, every admiral, even the people on planets linked to the fleet's broadcast, and what they saw shook them to their core. Earth burning, cities collapsing under alien bombardments, human children crying in rubble, soldiers fighting through ruined streets, fleets falling from the sky, mass graves. The last broadcast from Earth. Whoever sees this, please remember us. For the first time in years, the Dominion fleet grew silent, painful, shameful, uncomfortable silence. Commander Vec clenched his fists. He had heard stories, but he had never seen this. High Marshal, is this true? Vec whispered. Theros didn't answer. Ree's voice echoed across both fleets. You said humans were violent. Dangerous monsters. She paused. But you never saw what you did to us. Her voice hardened. We do not ask for your pity. We ask for recognition, for truth, for peace. Across the Dominion warships, thousands of soldiers stared at the horrific images in disbelief. Many lowered their weapons, some stormed off their posts, others cried silently. Theros trembled with rage. Enough, he shouted. Shut it down, but the broadcast continued. Ree added, you started this war, but we ended it, and we will not let you rewrite history. Theros screamed fire, but no one moved. Not a single officer obeyed. They were human once, or touched by humans, or saved by them during the old wars, or taught by them. And the images had awakened something inside them that their leaders thought long buried: compassion. The first shot is not fired. Ree spoke again, softer now. Dominion soldiers, you have a choice. Theros slammed his fist. Obey me or be executed. But one captain removed his badge, another shut down his cannon system, a third sent a private message to Arc-7, we don't want war. Vec whispered, stunned, the fleet is refusing to fire. Theros snapped. He grabbed a weapon from a guard. If you will not destroy them, I will. He aimed it at the comms officer, but something stopped him, a hand, Commander Vec's hand. Vec grabbed Theros' arm and stared into his furious eyes. This war is over, Vec said quietly. Theros screamed, traitor, but Vec didn't let go. You led us to darkness, Vec said. The humans gave us truth. Theros aimed his weapon, but the bridge guards finally stepped forward, weapons pointed at him. The High Marshal froze, for the first time in his life outnumbered. The quiet before the real war. Ree watched silently as the Dominion fleet slowly lowered its weapons. Hale whispered, is it over? Ree shook her head. No, this was only the first armada. Her eyes turned cold. The others will come and they won't hesitate. She looked at the stars where new signals flickered. In the far distance, another power watched. Not Dominion, not human, something older, something waiting. Ree whispered, the real war is about to begin. The space around Arc-7 felt heavier than before. Even after the Dominion Grand Armada lowered its weapons, the fortress didn't relax. Its engines hummed with growing tension and its shield layers shifted like a creature sensing danger. The threat wasn't gone, it had only changed shape. Captain Ree stood on the fortress bridge, staring at the final image the sensors captured, a flicker of strange blue distortion far beyond the Dominion lines. It was faint, almost invisible, but she saw it clearly. Something was watching them, a new shadow in the dark. Lieutenant Hale approached with the latest scan reports. Captain, all Dominion ships have backed away to a safe distance. No hostile signatures. Ree didn't answer. She pointed toward the distortion point on the screen. What do you make of this? Hale leaned closer, squinting. A warp echo. No, Ree said. It moved only slightly, but it moved. Hale froze. Captain, are you saying another fleet is here? Ree folded her arms. Not a fleet, something worse. The bridge fell silent as though the fortress itself was holding its breath. She zoomed in on the distortion. For a moment, a faint outline appeared, long, thin, and unnervingly sharp, almost like the shadow of a spear or a predator. Hale whispered, "Captain, that shape, I've never seen a ship like that." Ree nodded. "Neither have I, that's what scares me." Commander Vec realizes the truth. Meanwhile, aboard the Dominion flagship High Warden, Commander Vec watched Ree's broadcast again and again. The memory vault footage scarred him deeply. For years, the Dominion believed humans destroyed themselves, but the truth showed something else. They were hunted. Vec approached the viewport, watching Arc-7 from afar. "They never deserved what we did to them," he murmured. Behind him, the bridge officers whispered nervously, "Commander, something strange is happening on the long-range scanners." Vec turned. "Show me." The officer magnified the distortion. It shimmered like rippling water, then it blinked once like an eye opening. Vec's blood ran cold. "That is not a Dominion signal." "No, sir," the officer said. "It's something unknown." Vec felt a sinking feeling in his chest. Whatever that shape was, it was not looking at the Dominion armada. It was staring directly at Arc-7. Inside the fortress, fear spreads down in Arc-7 living sectors. Families gathered near the reinforced walls. Emergency alarms stayed silent, but people could feel something wrong in the air. A group of teenagers looked out through a transparent observation deck. They saw thousands of ships surrounding the fortress, yet none of them fired. One girl whispered, "Why aren't they attacking?" Her friend answered, "Maybe they're scared." The girl shook her head. "No, they're looking at something else." She pointed toward the faint shimmer in the distance. The others couldn't see it clearly, but she did. "It's watching us," she whispered. The heart of Arc-7 speaks deep inside the fortress. The golden core, the heart, glowed brighter than usual. Engineers monitored it nervously as streams of energy spiraled unpredictably within its structure. One engineer shouted, "Captain, you need to see this." Ree and Hale rushed into the chamber. "What's happening?" Ree demanded. The engineer pointed at the core's readout. "It's reacting, as if it senses something outside." "The distortion," Hale whispered. The core pulsed again, a deep, low thrum that rattled the metal floor. Ree frowned. "The heart has never behaved like this, not even during the Great War." The engineer swallowed. "Captain, the core is scared." Ree stared at him. Cores didn't feel fear, unless the thing in the dark was something even Arc-7 creators feared. The unknown moved suddenly. The distortion flickered, once, twice, three times. Each flicker was sharper, closer. The shape slowly became clearer, long, blade-like, black as a starless void, a ship unlike anything in human or Dominion history. The scanners lit up. Alert, unknown vessel approaching. The entire fortress shook softly, not from impact, but from a strange pressure in the air, as if reality itself bent around the unknown ship. Ree returned to the bridge instantly. "Report." The sensors officer stuttered. "Captain, it's enormous, twice the length of Arc-7, maybe more, and it's not showing in normal space. It's half-phased." "Phased?" Hale repeated. "Into what?" The officer swallowed. "Another dimension." The ship flickered again. This time a small section became fully visible, sharp metallic fins like wings, glowing runes on its hull, and a single long spear-like structure at its front. The Dominion fleet panicked. Messages flooded their channels. "What is that? Is it human?" "No, sensors show unknown tech." "High Marshal, give orders." "Should we shoot it?" "It's not targeting us, it's targeting the fortress." Theros shouted into his comms, "All ships, defensive formation." But it was too late. The unknown vessel completed its phase shift, and now the galaxy could see it clearly. The spectral doom the ship was silent, silent like a dead star, silent like something ancient. Hale whispered, "Captain, humans never made anything like that. Dominion never made anything like that." Ree nodded slowly. "I know who made it." The bridge turned toward her, stunned. "You do?" Hale asked. Ree looked at the ship with a cold, heavy expression. "Yes, my mother told me stories when I was young about a species that vanished before the Great War, a species so technologically advanced that even humans feared them." Hale frowned. "A myth?" "No," Ree whispered. "A warning." She stepped forward. "That ship belongs to the LSR." No one spoke, none dared. Ree continued. "They were the first race to map the galaxy, the first to build star cores, the first to create weapons that bend reality." Hale's voice was barely audible, "But they disappeared ages ago." Ree nodded. "Yes, and no one knows why." The LSR ship drifted closer, its hull shimmering between realities. Then a deep tone echoed across the void. Not a sound. Not a transmission, a vibration, something that bypassed technology and went straight into the bones of every living creature, human, alien, soldier, and child alike. Arc-7 shook violently. The Dominion Armada panicked. Commander Vec grabbed a console. "What is it doing?" His sensors officer shouted. "Commander, its energy signature, it's scanning the fortress." Vec's eyes widened. Scanning for what? No one knew, but Ree did. She whispered one word: humans. The choice of humanity. The LSR ship extended a long spear-like arm toward Arc-7. A spiral of dark energy formed at its tip. The bridge trembled. "Captain," Hale cried, "we must activate shields." "No," Ree said. "The heart is reacting. If we activate shields, it could overload." "Then what do we do?" Hale demanded. Ree exhaled slowly. Something the LSR never expected. She walked to the center console. "Open a communication channel." Officers paled. "To who?" Hale whispered. Ree stared at the massive alien vessel. "To them." The first message in 1,000 years. The bridge fell silent as Ree spoke, her voice steady and clear. "This is Captain Ree of Arc 7. We know who you are, we know your history, we know you vanished." She paused. "And we know you're not here to destroy us yet." The LSR ship vibrated as if listening. Ree continued, "We are the last of our kind. Humanity has survived horrors. We have rebuilt our world inside this fortress. We do not seek war, but we will defend ourselves." Hale's eyes widened, not at her words but at the screen. The LSR vessel stopped moving, the spear arm dissolved back into its hull, the energy spiral vanished, and then for the first time the ship responded, not with words but with symbols, floating glowing glyphs projected into the void, ancient, beautiful, terrifying. Ree's face drained of color. "What does it say?" Hale whispered. Ree's voice was barely a breath. "It says we have returned. You are not supposed to exist." Everyone froze. Hale whispered, "Captain, what does that mean?" Ree stared at the alien ship. "It means humanity was never meant to survive Earth's fall." The LSR ship shifted again, preparing something worse. Ree whispered, "And it means they are here to finish what the galaxy started." The alien vessel of the LSR floated like a silent nightmare in the void, half in reality, half out. Its hull shimmered between existence and nothingness, bending space around it like ripples in water. No one had seen technology like this in thousands of years. Not humans, not the Dominion, not any species alive. The Dominion's massive armada kept a terrified distance, engines humming quietly, afraid to move, afraid to speak, afraid to breathe. Every commander knew a single wrong action might erase them all. Inside Arc 7, the humans felt something worse than fear. They felt recognition. Captain Ree stood on the bridge, staring at the glowing LSR symbols the alien ship sent as its first message. Strange glyphs floated in space like living light. She knew some of them from old stories her mother whispered before she died. Stories of the LSR, stories of ancient promises, stories of betrayal. Lieutenant Hale watched her carefully. "Captain, what did the symbols mean exactly?" Ree didn't answer immediately. It was a moment before she spoke. "It said you should not exist." A thick silence swallowed the bridge. "Captain," the young sensors officer said weakly, "are they saying humans shouldn't be alive?" Ree exhaled slowly. "No, they mean something worse." The entire bridge leaned closer. "They mean humans were never supposed to be created." That sentence hit the room like an explosion. The LSR's first move, the alien ship's front section opened slightly like a flower blooming in the dark. Strange glowing mist drifted into space, shifting like liquid light. Every sensor on Arc 7 triggered at once. "Captain, they're charging some kind of system." Ree's eyes narrowed. "Weapons? No, it's not a weapon," the officer said. "It's a signal, but not a normal one." Hale studied the waveform. "Captain, this looks like a calling signal. They're not alone." Ree's heartbeat quickened. "How many?" she asked. The sensors officer tried to analyze the signal, but the readings went wild. "I don't know, Captain. This signal isn't calling one ship, it's calling an entire species." The Dominion fleet panicked instantly. Thousands of voices filled the comm channels. "High Marshal, what is happening? Another fleet incoming. We're dead. Someone shut down that signal." "We can't. It's overriding everything." Commander Vec watched the chaos from his bridge. His crew trembled, desperately trying to regain control of their systems. "Commander," an officer shouted, "the LSR, they're summoning more of their kind." Vec closed his eyes painfully. "This is not a battle anymore, it's a cleansing." The heart's memory inside Arc 7, the golden core pulsed violently. Its glow brightened with every LSR signal wave. Like it was reacting emotionally, fear, pain, anger, confusion. Engineers backed away. "Captain Ree, the core is becoming unstable." Ree rushed into the chamber, Hale close behind. The core flickered with intense light, casting long shadows across the room. "What's happening?" Ree demanded. The lead engineer wiped sweat from his brow. "The heart of Arc 7 is linked to ancient human tech. Whatever the LSR are doing, it's activating hidden memory layers." "Hidden." Ree repeated. The core flashed once, twice, then projected a hologram into the chamber. A hologram none of them expected. The image was of a human woman, not a soldier, not an engineer, not a politician, a scientist, dressed in old Earth clothing older than the Great War. Her eyes were tired, sad, but sharp with brilliance. Ree gasped. I know her." Hale turned. "Who is she?" Ree swallowed. "Dr. Ilana Miros, founder of the ARC project. One of the last scientists before Earth fell." The hologram activated on its own. The woman spoke. "If you are seeing this message, then the LSR have returned and humanity is still alive." The whole room froze. Ree felt her chest tighten. Dr. Ilana continued, "You must understand the truth. The great extinction of Earth was not an accident, and it was not caused by war alone." Sparks crackled across the core. "The LSR created humanity." Silence. Absolute crushing silence. Ree whispered, "What?" Dr. Ilana continued, "We were their experiment, a species designed for resilience, for adaptation, for survival, but humans grew too fast, learned too quickly, evolved too freely." Her voice trembled. "The LSR feared us, so they tried to erase us before we could surpass them." Hale stepped back, stunned. "Captain, humans are a created species." Ree didn't answer. She couldn't. "Dr. Ilana's hologram continued. We hid this truth in the Ark core so that one day, if the LSR returned, humanity would know why they want to destroy us. She looked directly at the recording device, eyes sharp. They are not gods, they are not invincible, but they believe they own us. Ree felt something deep inside her shift, anger, betrayal, and an overwhelming urge to protect her people. Dr. Ilana's final words echoed softly, "The LSR will not stop. You must survive them." The hologram faded. Ree stood silently, fists clenched. "We were created," Hale whispered. "And now," Ree replied coldly, "our creators have returned to kill us." The Dominion's crisis on the Dominion flagship. High Marshal Theros stared at the LSR ship with growing dread. "Commander Vec," Theros growled, "prepare all weapons." Vec shook his head. "High Marshal, the LSR destroy whole empires, we cannot fight them." Theros grabbed him by the collar. "We either fight with everything or we die like animals." Vec pushed him away. "No, we choose survival, and the only one who understands what's coming is her." He pointed to Arc 7. Theros froze. "You want to ally with humans?" Vec nodded sharply. "We don't have a choice." Before Theros could shout again, the LSR ship emitted a low, haunting tone. A new set of symbols appeared, this time. The translation systems partially decoded them, and the meaning was horrifying. "All unauthorized life must be purged." Theros paled. Commander Vec whispered, "They're not here for humans only, they're here for all life." The Legion of Dominion officers fell silent in terror. The LSR opened fire. The space around the alien vessel darkened. The spear-like arm reappeared, glowing with cold white fire. "Captain Ree," the sensors officer shouted. "They're targeting Arc 7. Ree stepped forward, voice unwavering. "All hands prepare for impact. Divert full power to forward shields." Arc 7 shield wall glowed gold, expanding like a massive dome. The alien spear fired. A thin beam of reality-breaking energy shot toward the fortress, but rather than blow through the shield, the beam rippled across it like fire hitting water. Ree watched the shield distort dangerously. "Reinforce the lattice," she shouted. The shield groaned, cracking like old glass. "Captain," an officer cried, "we can't hold this." Ree clenched her teeth. "We hold or we die." The beam intensified. Cracks grew. Alarms screamed. The entire fortress shook violently. Panels exploded. Sparks flew. People fell. And then the worst sound, the shield wall shattered. A burst of energy tore through Arc 7 outer armor. Hale shouted, "We're breached." Multiple hull fractures. Ree steadied herself. "Seal all damage sectors. Send drones. Keep firing our counter pulses." But the LSR beam wasn't stopping, it was getting stronger. Ree whispered, "If they break through the next layer, we lose the heart." And if the heart was destroyed, Arc 7 would die, humanity would die, an unlikely savior. Suddenly, dozens of Dominion ships rushed forward. Commander Vec's voice echoed across the comms. "Captain Ree, we are forming a barrier between you and the LSR. Hold your ground." Ree blinked. "What?" The Dominion fleet, the former enemy, stood between Arc 7 and the LSR. Vec shouted, "We don't know how to fight them, but we know how to defend." The Dominion ships activated their heaviest shields, overlapping their formations like a wall. The LSR beam hit them instead. Ships crackled, armor melted, but they held. Ree whispered, "Vec, you fool, you brave fool." Hale stepped beside her. "Captain, the enemy of our enemy," Ree nodded, "is our only hope." A wall of Dominion ships burned under the white beam of the LSR vessel. Their shields crackled, hulls split, and metal turned to glowing dust. But they didn't fall back, not one. Commander Vec stood firm on his bridge, gripping the railing with white knuckles. The High Warden shook violently. "Commander," an officer cried, "our shields are failing, 20% and dropping." "Hold the line," Vec commanded, voice steady but eyes burning with fear. "If we fall, humanity falls." Behind the Dominion wall, Arc 7 glowed like a golden city in the void. The fortress trembled from the aftershocks of the LSR beam, but its engines and core hummed with rising power like it was waking something deep inside. On Arc 7 bridge, Captain Ree watched the Dominion fleet sacrifice itself to buy them time. She didn't expect it, yet she wasn't surprised. Vec had changed. The galaxy had changed. Hale leaned close. "Captain, if the Dominion ships fall, we're next." Ree nodded slowly. "Then we cannot let them fall. The heart sees what we cannot." In the engine chamber, the heart pulsed faster. Its glow changed from gold to a strange white gold blend, brighter with every second. Engineers stepped back as arcs of energy spiraled around it. One whispered, "It's like it's afraid." But another corrected him softly, "No, it's preparing." The heart projected a small hologram into the air, ancient human text mixed with symbols no human could read. Ree arrived moments later, eyes widening. "What is it showing?" The chief engineer swallowed. "Captain, the heart is showing us a map." "Coordinates?" "No, Captain, something else." The hologram shifted, now showing an enormous machine buried deep under Arc 7 lower decks. Hale gasped, "I've never seen that section before." Ree stared at the glowing outline. "Because it doesn't exist on any blueprint." The heart pulsed again, strong and urgent. "It wants us to go there," Ree whispered. Descent into the unknown. Ree, Hale, and a squad of elite guards entered the lowest level of Arc 7, an area sealed since the fortress was first built. Lights flickered on as they approached, as if the walls themselves recognized the captain. The air smelled old, untouched, yet strange and metallic. A massive circular door stood before them, covered in glowing lines matching the heart's pulse rhythm. Hale stepped forward. "Captain, this isn't human technology, not fully." Ree touched the door. It opened on its own. Inside was a chamber unlike anything on the fortress. Smooth, curved walls, floating platforms, strange runes, a faint, soft hum vibrating in the air. At the center of the room stood a giant metallic structure shaped like a spear suspended by invisible force. Ree's breath caught. "This is not a weapon." Hale frowned. "Then what is it?" Ree whispered, "It's a key." The LSR grew restless outside. The LSR ship pulsed with strange light. The energy beam slicing toward the Dominion wall intensified again. Ships exploded, shields collapsed, even the High Warden trembled. "Commander," an officer shouted, "we can't hold much longer." Vex stared at the fortress behind them. "Ree, whatever you're doing, do it now." Ancient voices back inside Arc 7 hidden chamber. The spear-like structure began to glow. White light poured from its edges. Strange symbols spiraled across its length. Hale stepped back. "Captain, this thing is responding to the LSR attack." Ree moved closer. "Heart, show us what this is." The heart projected a hologram, an ancient recording. A human scientist, but standing beside her was a tall, elegant alien being with glowing eyes, an LSR, old, ancient, from the time before the war. The scientist spoke. "This is the Genesis key, a device created jointly by humans and LSR long ago when we were allies." Hale's mouth fell open. "Allies?" The LSR in the recording placed its hand on the key and continued. "This key stabilizes life code. It protects species from collapse. It was meant to guide younger civilizations toward survival." The human added softly, "But something changed. Our creators grew afraid of us." The LSR in the recording turned its gaze to the camera. "If my people ever return as destroyers, activate the key." Ree's heart pounded. This was bigger than a fortress, bigger than the war, bigger than humans. This was the truth. "Captain," Hale whispered, voice cracking, "this key wasn't built to destroy the LSR." "No," Ree said, eyes wide. "It was built to control them. The Dominion makes their move." Vex ship shook again. Dominion dreadnought beside them exploded into a blazing cloud of metal. "Commander," an officer screamed, "we're losing ships every second." Vex gripped the console and shouted, "Open all channels." He broadcast his voice to Arc 7. "Captain Ree, if you have anything left, if humans have any weapon, this is the moment." Silence. Then Ree's voice finally answered, "Commander, we have no weapon." Vec closed his eyes, despair hitting him, but then she added, "We have something older." The key Awakens replaced her hand on the Genesis key. It hummed, vibrated through her bones. The entire chamber brightened. The heart pulsed wildly, and then the key activated. A shockwave of bright light burst outward, passing through steel, metal, and circuits like water flowing around stone. Arc 7 glowed from within. Every light turned white. Every panel hummed. Every human felt a warm pulse in their chest. The heart roared with power. Ree staggered but held her hand firm. "Key of Genesis," she whispered. "Wake." The LSR react. The alien vessel jerked violently, its entire hull rippling like a living creature struck by terror. For the first time, the LSR ship showed emotion, fear. Symbols flashed across its hull, rapid, panicked. The beam attacking Dominion ships sputtered and died. Commander Vex stared in confusion. "What happened?" The sensors officer stuttered. "Commander, I think the LSR ship is retreating." The vessel began drifting backward as if dragged by invisible chains. Then the Dominion saw why. A new wave of white light erupted from Arc 7, spreading through space like a soft, radiant tide. It touched the LSR ship. It screamed, not a sound, a vibration deep in the soul. The LSR ship twisted violently, shimmering between realities, unable to hold its form. Ree's voice echoed through all frequencies. "LSR vessel, stand down." The alien ship halted. Frozen in place, Vec whispered in awe. She stopped it. She stopped the LSR. But the truth was far more terrifying. Ree whispered to Hale, "This key does not destroy them. It forces their minds to submit." Hale's eyes widened in horror. "Captain, that means," Ree nodded slowly, "we now control the most ancient species in the galaxy." The moment of silence, the LSR ship fully stabilized, still silent, restrained by the key's power. It no longer attacked. But it no longer hid either. It projected a message toward Arc 7, a single symbol. Ree translated it instantly. "It says we are not the only ones who created you." Hale felt chills run down his spine. "Captain, what does that mean?" Ree turned toward the glowing key. "That means the LSR were not humanity's only creators." She stared into the void beyond, sensing something far darker. "I think the worst is still out there." The Dominion's decision on the flagship, High Marshal Theros dropped to his knees, overwhelmed and humiliated. Commander Vex stood over him. "You see now," Vex said quietly, "the humans were never our enemies." Theros didn't answer. Vex looked toward Arc 7. "We follow them now. Whatever happens next, we stand with them." The key's final warning back in the chamber. The key's glow dimmed slightly as the heart stabilized. Ree exhaled, exhausted but victorious. Hale placed a hand on her shoulder. "Captain, today you changed the fate of the galaxy." Ree shook her head. No, she looked at the map the heart projected again, the one with multiple marked points across the galaxy, hundreds of them, thousands, each one glowing with the same symbol as the Genesis key. I didn't change it, Ree whispered. I only opened the first door.